Have you ever wondered why someone can walk into a room and instantly command your attention? Not because of wealth, power, or charm, but because something deeper, something almost primal, draws you in. What if I told you that the magnetic pull of sexual attraction is not just biology, not just hormones, but a mirror reflecting your own weaknesses, desires, and insecurities? Today, we're going to unravel the darkest Stoic truth about sexual attraction, a truth that most people ignore, yet it controls more of their decisions, emotions, and lives than they would ever admit. But before we go any deeper, I need you to ask yourself one question. Are you truly in control of your desires, or are your desires secretly controlling you? This is not just philosophy for ivory towers. It is practical, it is raw, and it is the kind of wisdom that can save you from years of frustration, heartbreak, and wasted energy. Imagine standing in front of someone who ignites a fire in your chest, and instead of being overwhelmed, you recognize the exact mechanics of why your mind is reacting this way, and you don't just survive it, you master it. That mastery is not denial, it is understanding, and this is exactly what Stoicism has been teaching us for centuries. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But when it comes to sexual attraction, most people treat this power as an illusion, like it's something external that just happens to them. Seneca warned about passions ruling reason, and yet, in our modern world, the bombardment of imagery, social media, and instant gratification has made it almost impossible to recognize these invisible chains. The Stoics believed that desire, if left unchecked, is like a storm that sweeps a ship off its course. But here's the twist. Sexual attraction is not something to suppress, it is something to illuminate, to study, and to understand. Imagine being able to interact with someone you find irresistible, and instead of reacting impulsively, you observe, analyze, and direct your response with precision. That power is not fantasy, it is your birthright, and it begins by confronting one uncomfortable truth. Sexual attraction is a mirror, and whatever it reflects back at you, the jealousy, the obsession, the longing, is a reflection of your inner world. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." Yet how many of us pause to see how our mind twists sexual attraction into obsession, envy, or inadequacy? Most of us don't even realize we are captives to a desire we believe is natural, but in truth, it is malleable, learnable, and conquerable. And here's something even more unsettling. The very way we chase or resist attraction is often rooted in fears we don't dare name. Fear of rejection, fear of insignificance, fear that someone else's beauty diminishes our own value. But what if I told you that understanding this fear is not just liberating, it is transformative? By recognizing it, we can flip the entire game, taking what used to enslave us and using it to fuel clarity, self-respect, and authentic connection. And the most shocking part? This truth does not just apply to others, it applies first to yourself. Your own habits, your self-image, and even your self-discipline are constantly shaping the magnetic forces of attraction. You see, attraction is not purely physical, it's psychological, philosophical, and deeply moral. It exposes where you are disciplined and where you are weak. It is a test, a mirror, and a teacher. And if you choose to ignore it, you remain blind to one of life's most powerful forces. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you on a journey through the streets of ancient Rome, the wisdom of the Stoics, and the modern battlefield of desire to show you why understanding sexual attraction is not a moral dilemma or a shameful indulgence, but the ultimate pathway to self-mastery. By the end of this video, you won't just see attraction differently, you'll see yourself differently, and you'll discover a Stoic strategy to navigate desire with the same calm, unshakable power that allowed Marcus Aurelius to rule an empire and Epictetus to walk freely even in chains. But here's the secret most people miss. True mastery of desire begins with a truth so uncomfortable that most people flee from it, avoid it, or lie to themselves about it. And it's this very truth that I'm about to reveal.
Let's take a step back and examine what really happens when sexual attraction hits. Most people think it's just a matter of chemistry, a spark of desire, a fleeting instinct. But the Stoics saw it differently. They understood that desire is a reflection of your inner state, a test not of the other person's beauty, but of your own discipline, clarity, and self-command. Imagine walking past someone who ignites a deep longing in you. For most, this triggers a chain reaction. The mind races, the body tenses, and the heart pulses with an almost uncontrollable energy. Yet, what you are feeling is not purely external, it is a mirror of your own mind's conditioning. Seneca warned that unexamined desires enslave the soul, while Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that the world cannot harm the rational mind unless it consents. When you feel that magnetic pull, your mind has already begun spinning a story. I must have them, I can't be happy without them, they are more than me, they are my validation. And here's the brutal Stoic truth. The moment you hand over your power to attraction without reflection, you are no longer in control. You have become a puppet to an invisible force, dancing to impulses that seem natural, inevitable, and unchangeable. But there is a hidden path, a way to navigate desire without being consumed by it. Epictetus teaches that we do not control external events, only our judgments about them. That means the lust, the longing, the obsession, it is not the attraction itself that dominates you, but the story your mind tells about it. This is where most people fail. They conflate desire with action, letting instinct dictate behavior, when in reality, desire is simply data, a signal about what you value, what you fear, and what parts of yourself you have neglected. Let me give you a modern example. Imagine scrolling social media and seeing someone effortlessly captivating. Most of us react instantly, comparing ourselves, feeling envy, or fantasizing about what could never be. This is not harmless. It's the mind being hijacked, and the energy spent here shapes your emotions, confidence, and decisions. The Stoics would call this a test of reason. How will you respond? With blind indulgence, with self-loathing, or with insight and discipline? And here's an open loop for you. This is just the beginning. Because sexual attraction, as powerful as it is, also carries a hidden weapon. It exposes your deepest insecurities. Marcus Aurelius often reflected in his meditations that the judgments of others only have power if you let them. Sexual attraction works the same way. The fire it ignites can either illuminate your weaknesses or fuel your growth. But few take the time to understand it, and fewer still know how to use it. The moment you realize that your desire is a reflection of your inner state, you begin to see people not as objects, but as teachers. Every glance, every spark of attraction becomes a lesson in self-awareness. Who are you when you feel desire? Are you calm, composed, observing your impulses? Or are you frantic, reactive, and desperate for validation? The Stoics believed that the mind's discipline was the true measure of freedom. In other words, mastering your response to attraction is more valuable than any external conquest. And yet, this mastery is counterintuitive. Society tells you to chase, to act, to win approval. But the Stoic path is the opposite. Observe, understand, and act only when reason deems it necessary. This does not make you cold, it makes you powerful. Picture this. A person walks by, igniting a wave of attraction, and instead of reacting, you study your response, recognize the triggers, and even appreciate the chemistry without letting it dictate your actions. That is freedom. But the Stoic journey doesn't stop there. Sexual attraction also reveals hidden desires, latent drives, and unacknowledged needs. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Every glance, every spark of desire is an opportunity to uncover which parts of yourself you have left unchecked. your impulses, your fears, your fantasies, and yes, even your ego. And here's the deeper secret that most people avoid. The way you respond to attraction is a reflection of your moral and mental strength. If you panic, obsess, or chase compulsively, it exposes areas where your discipline is weak. If you act mindfully, with awareness and composure, it demonstrates an inner fortitude that is rare even among the most successful people. But there's one more twist, and this is why most people fail to master attraction. Sexual desire is often amplified by illusion. Your mind adds stories, fantasies, and assumptions to the raw stimulus of attraction. The object of your desire may be powerful, magnetic, even beautiful, but the power you feel is largely constructed by your mind. This is the dark, Stoic truth. The most dangerous attraction is the one that reflects your own unexamined desires, not the external reality. And in the next part, I will show you the 3 specific ways Stoic wisdom can transform this raw, sometimes chaotic force into a tool for self-mastery, resilience, and even authentic connection, a path that most never consider, yet it is available to anyone willing to confront themselves honestly. But before we go there, remember this: the way you experience sexual attraction is the single fastest way to gauge the state of your mind, your discipline, and your inner strength. Ignore it, and it controls you. Study it, and it empowers you. And the choices you make in the next few minutes could change the way you interact with desire for the rest of your life.
Now let's unlock the real treasure of Stoicism, the transformation of desire into discipline, chaos into clarity, and attraction into awareness. You see, the Stoics never asked us to suppress our emotions, they asked us to understand them. They believed that every powerful emotion, even sexual desire, is not an enemy but an invitation, a signal from the mind that something within us demands attention. And if we can meet that signal with wisdom instead of reaction, we evolve into something stronger, calmer, freer. Let's explore the 3 timeless Stoic strategies that turn sexual attraction from an invisible chain into a weapon of self-mastery. Strategy 1: observation over obsession. Marcus Aurelius had a simple but devastatingly effective practice. When something stirred desire in him, he didn't rush toward it, he dissected it. When you are dazzled by someone's beauty, he wrote, analyze the object and divide it into what it really is. Think about that. Imagine someone whose beauty completely captures you. Your mind begins to romanticize them, crafting stories about their perfection, their mystery, their allure. But Marcus would have paused and said, what am I truly seeing? Skin, muscle, bone, biology? All temporary, all fleeting. When you peel back the illusion, you reclaim your power. This is not cynicism, it's clarity. The Stoics knew that unchecked attraction blinds the rational mind. So they practiced detachment not by ignoring desire, but by understanding its illusion. When you see the mechanism behind the emotion loses its control. This doesn't make you robotic, it makes you sovereign. You begin to choose when to engage, when to appreciate, and when to step back. Observation over obsession. When you practice this, something remarkable happens. Attraction stops being a storm and becomes a mirror. You see your impulses as signals, not commands. Strategy 2: transform energy into excellence. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." What would he say today, seeing millions of people trapped in endless cycles of lust, fantasy, and distraction? The Stoic answer to attraction was never repression, it was redirection. Sexual energy is raw power. It is focus, drive, life force. The Stoics knew this energy can either destroy you or elevate you, depending on how you channel it. When you feel that burning attraction, don't suppress it, transmute it. Use it to fuel your work, your art, your training, your purpose. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, and yet he wrote daily about controlling his impulses. Imagine that, a man surrounded by luxury, opportunity, and temptation, yet still reminding himself to master the self before ruling the world. This is not just philosophy, it's training for modern life. You can use that same energy to create something lasting. The intensity of attraction can be transformed into focus, discipline, and creation. Epictetus taught that the measure of a person's strength is their ability to choose where to place their attention. Every time you resist the pull of impulse and instead act with purpose, you build invisible muscles of restraint. And each act of discipline compounds into self-respect. The Stoics would tell you that every unacted impulse strengthens you. Every moment you redirect desire into effort, you rise above the average. This is how attraction becomes alchemy, turning lust into fuel, turning distraction into direction. Strategy 3. Acceptance of nature, mastery of choice. The Stoics did not deny that attraction is natural. They saw it as part of the grand design of nature. Epictetus wrote, "Remember that you are an actor in a drama of such a kind as the author may choose." This means that attraction will arise. It is not a flaw, it is nature expressing itself. But what separates the wise from the enslaved is how they respond. Stoicism teaches us to accept what is beyond our control and master what is within it. You cannot control who you find attractive, but you can control what you do next. This is where freedom lives. The untrained mind reacts instantly, chasing every desire as if it were oxygen. The Stoic mind, however, observes the desire and chooses consciously. Does this serve my higher purpose? Does this align with my values? This is where sexual attraction transforms from chaos to calm. You no longer feel the need to deny or indulge, you simply decide. You are not at war with your biology, you are in command of it. Imagine that moment when someone stirs your emotions. You feel the spark, but instead of losing control, you smile inwardly because you understand what's happening. You see the mechanism, you see your nature, and yet you remain still, unshaken. That stillness is your superpower. Now, here's where the Stoic truth gets darker and more profound. Sexual attraction, when misunderstood, is the fastest path to self-destruction. But when mastered, it becomes the gateway to transcendence. It's not about celibacy or suppression. It's about reclaiming the steering wheel of your mind. Every great Stoic faced the same test. Marcus Aurelius in his palace, Seneca in his politics, Epictetus in his slavery. And all of them arrived at the same realization. Freedom is not about having no desire. Freedom is about not being ruled by it. The modern world seduces us constantly. Advertisements, social media, instant validation. You are bombarded by images designed to hijack your biology and weaken your will. The Stoic warrior sees through this illusion. He does not run from temptation, he sees it clearly and stands unmoved. This level of composure is rare and yet attainable for anyone who chooses to live by reason instead of reaction. But we're not done yet, because there's one final layer to this truth that most people never uncover. Attraction, when mastered, reveals not only your strength, but your authenticity. The kind of person you are drawn to reflects the kind of energy you carry. Change yourself, and the nature of your attraction changes. Transform your mind, and the world responds differently. In the next part, we'll dive into this hidden connection, how your self-image, your habits, and your daily discipline silently dictate who and what you attract. And more importantly, how to align your inner world so deeply that you stop chasing attraction and start embodying it. Here's the hidden truth that most people never realize. The energy you project into the world determines not only who you attract, but how others respond to you. You've probably heard the phrase, "you attract what you are," but in Stoic terms, it goes even deeper. You don't just attract people, you attract reflections of your discipline, your values, your emotional control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Think about that for a moment. If your thoughts are restless, craving validation, and ruled by impulse, then that chaos will color everything you do. Your posture, your tone, your decisions. You won't need to speak a word. The world will feel it. But if your thoughts are grounded, disciplined, and rooted in self-respect, you emit a different kind of presence. You no longer chase attraction, you radiate it. The paradox of Stoicism is that the moment you stop seeking validation, you become magnetic. And this isn't some mystical energy, it's psychological truth. People are drawn to those who need nothing, who move through life with inner calm and certainty. But let's open this loop even wider, because the connection between self-image and attraction is deeper than mere confidence. It's about congruence. When your external actions match your internal principles, something shifts. You become coherent, aligned, real. The Stoics called this living in accordance with nature, acting in harmony with your highest reason. And when you do, you stop emitting the desperate energy of need and begin radiating the quiet power of sufficiency. Now, imagine a man or woman who walks into a room fully grounded in this Stoic state. They don't posture, they don't perform, they're not seeking attention, yet attention naturally gravitates toward them. Why? Because they embody control in a world ruled by chaos. Their eyes are steady, their movements deliberate, their energy unshaken by the noise around them. Seneca described this type of person perfectly. He who is brave is free. Freedom is attractive, not because it's loud, but because it's rare. Most people are enslaved by their emotions, their desires, their endless scrolling for approval. But when someone appears who is unbound, who can admire beauty without craving it, who can enjoy attention without becoming addicted, it's as if they've stepped out of another era. They seem mysterious, powerful, even dangerous, because they represent what most people secretly crave: mastery of the self. And here lies the darkest Stoic truth about sexual attraction. It is not about pleasure, it is about power. Not the power to dominate others, but the power to govern yourself. The one who governs himself becomes irresistible precisely because he cannot be controlled. This is what Marcus Aurelius meant when he wrote, "No man is happy who does not think himself so." When you no longer depend on external validation to feel alive, you become immune to manipulation. You become the calm in the storm, and others instinctively seek that calm. But how do you reach this level of inner steadiness in a world designed to pull you apart? The Stoics would say, begin with discipline in small things. Every time you resist reacting impulsively, whether it's to a text, a look, or a craving, you build inner gravity. Every act of self-control tightens your alignment with nature, with reason, with the highest part of yourself. This daily discipline accumulates like invisible armor. You begin to sense when desire is genuine and when it's an echo of loneliness or insecurity. And once you can see that difference clearly, attraction loses its power to enslave you. You start noticing that the people you used to crave no longer excite you, they drain you. Your energy shifts, your standards rise, and without even trying, you start drawing people who mirror your newfound composure. This is not arrogance, it's refinement. The Stoic does not withdraw from the world, but walks through it untouched by its illusions. Seneca warned that we become what we give attention to. So the Stoic gives his attention not to lust, not to fantasy, but to virtue. He trains his focus like a warrior's blade, and over time, his entire presence becomes a reflection of that virtue, steady, confident, untouchable. But let me take this deeper, because this is where transformation truly begins. You can only embody calm attraction when you faced your own chaos. Every unresolved insecurity, every wound, every past rejection, these are the shadows that shape your desires. If you don't confront them, they will rule you from within. The Stoics were not afraid to look inward. They performed what we might now call emotional audits, examining their reactions, their temptations, their attachments with brutal honesty. Marcus Aurelius wrote nightly reflections about his weaknesses, not to shame himself, but to understand them. Imagine doing the same, observing your impulses like a scientist, not a judge. You begin to see patterns, who you're drawn to, why you chase what you chase, and how these desires mirror the state of your self-respect. Once you realize that attraction often points to something missing in you, validation, purpose, self-worth, you gain the power to fill that gap internally instead of chasing it externally. That is the Stoic path. You stop expecting others to make you whole. You become whole, and attraction transforms from hunger into harmony. But there's one final twist to this truth. An open loop will close in the last part of this video. The Stoics knew that even the purest self-mastery is incomplete without wisdom about impermanence. Everything you desire, no matter how magnetic, will fade. The body ages, beauty dissolves, attention drifts. But there is something that never fades, something that grows even stronger the more you practice it: virtue. In the final part, we'll explore how Stoic wisdom turns impermanence itself into freedom, and how understanding the fleeting nature of attraction can make you not colder, but infinitely more powerful, compassionate, and grounded in reality. Because the moment you see the truth about impermanence, you stop clinging, and when you stop clinging, you finally become untouchable.
Everything we've explored so far leads to one final truth, the truth the Stoics held closer than any other. Everything you desire is temporary. The faces you crave, the attention you seek, the passions that consume you, all of them are flickering moments in time. And yet, it is our attachment to those fleeting moments that creates suffering. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "All is ephemeral, fame and the famous as well." That sentence alone contains the antidote to obsession, because the moment you understand impermanence, not intellectually, but experientially, you stop clinging to desire and begin to appreciate it for what it really is, a passing flame that illuminates, not defines, your journey. The Stoics knew that attachment is the root of suffering. Sexual attraction, when misunderstood, becomes a prison built out of longing and illusion. But when understood through Stoic wisdom, it becomes a teacher that reminds you, everything that burns brightly will eventually fade. The beauty you admire, the thrill of conquest, the validation of being wanted, they are all temporary waves. To depend on them for meaning is to tie your peace to the tide. And yet, the Stoics didn't reject these experiences. They embraced them with awareness. They saw beauty, felt desire, and enjoyed the world, but they did so without illusion. They loved deeply, but were never destroyed by loss. They admired beauty, but never confused it with worth. They felt passion, but never surrendered their reason to it. That balance is not coldness, it is strength. Now imagine this Stoic vision in your own life. You see someone who once would have consumed your thoughts, but now, instead of being dragged by impulse, you feel gratitude. You can admire without needing to possess. You can enjoy connection without fearing its end. You've learned to hold beauty lightly, knowing that its impermanence is what makes it precious. This is the quiet freedom the Stoics were pointing toward, the ability to participate in the world fully, yet remain unmoved by its chaos. Seneca wrote, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." When your desires scatter your attention in 1,000 directions, you lose yourself. But when your attention is grounded in virtue, your integrity, your purpose, your character, you can face any temptation without losing center. That centeredness is what makes you radiant. It's why truly grounded people seem to glow differently. They are not fighting the world, they are aligned with it. Their attraction doesn't come from appearance or status, but from peace. It's an aura that can't be faked because it's born of genuine self-command. You can feel it in the way they speak, move, and even pause. That pause, the space between impulse and action, is where the Stoic lives. But there's a deeper layer to this freedom, one that Marcus Aurelius hinted at often. He wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." Stoicism is not about suppression. It's about love without fear. To love someone or something without clinging to them, that is the highest form of power. When you understand that nothing lasts forever, you stop trying to trap moments and start cherishing them. The dark Stoic truth about sexual attraction is this: its impermanence is not a curse, it's a gift. Because without impermanence, there would be no appreciation, no beauty, no urgency to grow. The Stoic does not run from this truth, he lives by it. He can look at desire and see both its fire and its fading, and in that awareness, he becomes free. Free to admire without need, free to desire without addiction, free to connect without losing identity. The modern world calls this detachment, but the Stoics called it wisdom. And this brings us to you, the listener. Think about all the moments in your life when attraction controlled your choices. Times when you lost sleep, lost focus, or even lost yourself chasing someone or something that never truly fulfilled you. What if all that energy had been redirected inward to discipline, growth, creativity, purpose? Imagine how unshakable you would be. That version of you already exists, it's waiting beneath the noise. And Stoicism offers the path back to it. Every time you resist an impulse, every time you choose reason over reaction, every time you face desire with awareness instead of fear, you step closer to your highest self. The Stoics didn't just teach philosophy, they lived it in the midst of temptation, chaos, and mortality. And if they could master their desires in a world without screens and distractions, then surely so can you. So here's your challenge. The next time desire rises, pause, observe it, analyze it, and ask yourself, what does this reveal about me? What part of me is seeking validation here? And what if I could find that validation within myself instead? That single question is the beginning of freedom. Because the moment you stop letting attraction pull you and start letting awareness guide you, you become what every Stoic aspired to be: untouchable. Not cold, not emotionless, but grounded, calm, and sovereign over your own mind. And that kind of power, the Stoics knew, is the only kind that truly lasts. So, as we close this journey, remember, sexual attraction is not your enemy. It's your mirror. It shows you where you are free and where you are still a slave. Study it, and it will teach you more about yourself than any philosophy book ever could. Master it, and you will move through life with a quiet strength that cannot be faked or shaken. This is the essence of Stoic power, not the absence of desire, but the mastery of it. Because in a world where everyone is ruled by impulse, the one who can remain still is not just disciplined, he is divine.